Rude. Look at us with our coffees. I have a beautiful flower on it, and
I
you have 3 beautiful flowers on
have
yours.
3 beautiful flowers, and she'll be back.
Go ahead. Read your description for everybody who hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, should I read it out loud? Should I say it? The
Go for it.
description. I think you just need to look.
Porco.
You just need to look.
Look at the
Well,
description.
I
Dad's
also
very
have
tickled with himself.
my little mug,
You do? You have your
my little
espresso cup.
my little espresso mug. We're good.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
All right, are we ready to kick this thing off? Light this
Let's kick this thing
firecracker.
off. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Welcome to Take It Down a Notch with Rob.
And Lynzee. Okay. We're not saying our last names anymore.
You threw me off. You sounded like really like
Welcome to Take It Down a Notch.
Did I?
you got really like
I got the
smooth.
big
You like
bottom
changed
on
the
my
tone.
microphone. We're going deep today.
We're going deep
The sultry,
today.
the sultry tones of Dad.
This is the Dad Podcast.
Oh, all right. Oh, I didn't notice you could see my plant in the background. Can you see that?
Is
There's a
it
plant in
alive?
there?
Is there another plant in there? Is it fake?
Yes.
Did you kill your last one? The other one was completely dead when I left.
Yeah. Yeah. It's dead. That one's fake. There we go.
Is it fake?
There's a lot of Lynzee.
That's gonna be the thumbnail.
Yeah, it probably will be. Brr. So
The thumbnails are always the least flattering.
yeah,
It's like of me yawning like every single time. Like how many times do I yawn on the podcast for the thumbnail to be yawning every single time?
if I was a good podcaster, I would actually do a thumbnail. But no, ignore it.
No,
Once
it's
it's
me.
done, we push edit and we push publish, and it's done.
Done.
You get all the outtakes are all in.
Oh yeah, all of them.
No editing in post. So how are you?
None.
How is France?
I am good.
Have all
France
the-
is in recovery mode, I think, but
Have all
I'm
the
good.
stuffy Olympians left and exited
I
the
think so.
country, and so now you're
my
doing
knowledge, yeah.
now you're doing the other the Paralympics,
Oh yeah, we have
coming up
Paralympics.
like in a week or two or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Can't remember.
I
I'm not
watched
honestly. I'm not really paying attention to it. I didn't even watch the closing ceremony.
the closing ceremonies generally are lame. I didn't
Apparently
watch
I
it
was
this time.
like partially in LA.
Yeah, because that's where it's
It's
going. It's
2000.
they're always kind of like, but
Yeah,
I didn't watch it. But
I'm just kind of over it. If I'm being honest.
watched last night. I watched the women's basketball, the gold medal match.
Yeah, apparently it was like really good. I had somebody at church be like, "The U.S. won last night," and I was like, "Yeah, they did. In what?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I missed that one."
Well, I guess France basketball was it, and the U.S. were for both men and women. The deal is
Both men and women's. The difference is that it was like 67 to like 69 or whatever, and for the women's, and the men's was like 7 and 8. Like very interesting.
Yeah.
Like low score, high score, both of them really close.
Yeah, I was
And kind of crazy with how stacked our basketball team was, how close we were. It's a little embarrassing.
Well, the women's Olympic team has like never lost like in 8 years or something, or 8 times or something. Since like the beginning, they've like never lost or something. It's crazy, but it was like touch and go. I was like, wow, but it goes. The Olympic basketball goes fast. It was like boom, boom, boom. It was a 10-minute quarter. It's like we're done. We're out of here. We're not.
I imagine with like
halftime was like 5 minutes. Like boom, we're done.
Well, it's because Europe has such short games.
Yeah. Well,
like whenever they hear that we spend 4 hours on football, they're like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
And how often are these games?
Just once a week.
Like it's so hard for them to understand, and that we do it midday on a Sunday
Yeah.
or in the after or in evenings. But like we
All
never
day
have games
Sunday.
that start
All day Sunday.
yeah all day. Yeah, all day.
You have a morning game on the East Coast, and
Yeah,
then a 1 o'clock game on the West Coast, and
but
then
we
you have a
never have
Sunday night
games that
game.
start at 9 p.m. Right?
Oh yeah.
They start at like 7, not 9.
Um, well, if you're on the East Coast, they start at 9.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's it.
Or yeah, it's crazy. So like when it's like this Super Bowl starts at you know
Yeah,
it's 7 o'clock or something on the East Coast, and then it's not done till midnight. And the World
yeah.
Series and all go on the East Coast, all go till late most of the time.
Hmm.
Um,
Right.
so it's kind of weird if you're on the East
Yeah.
Coast because in the U.S. 3 hours difference from one side to the other.
Yeah.
But um, but yeah, I watched that last night because I put a TV the size of Montana in my office, so I figured I should watch something.
The sites of Montana, huh?
It's bigger than my desk. It's
You should
wide.
talk about all the life changes that you guys have made to the house.
Life, Jesus. Well, mom painted.
Yeah.
Mom painted. I put a new
I don't
bed.
agree with the color for anyone who's listening. I looked at it. Mom showed me this morning. It's not as bad as the Be Real made it look.
Yeah.
It does look better now. It's just not the blue that I thought we had talked about.
Yeah, I this was the best blue. This was the best blue. So
You
I
had
like
a
it.
plan in your mind. It
I
makes
like it.
sense
I like it.
with the
And
sports blue we're trying to go for.
I think it's closer to her football blue or her dad's football
I
blue.
think
I'm not sure how
I
much she
forgot
cares about
that's what you were trying to go for.
this soccer team.
Pretty sure that's just about her dad.
I think it's just her dad. But she said she likes blue. So I'm sure she likes it better than red.
Oh,
Bright,
I'm sure that red
bright,
was
bright red. Race car red.
bright, bright red.
Yeah. So it looks better
Yeah,
than the red. And I put a new bed in there and a new mattress in there.
right. I saw that.
And yeah, took the TV out of the basement, put it in my office. So
Nice.
my office is an absolute disaster because I
What a
moved.
surprise. It actually looks so much better from this angle. You're
Yeah,
not even with the focus of your camera, you're not even getting that like washed out by the windows. It looks really
yeah.
nice.
Well,
The
it's
last few angles have like given me anxiety with the disorganization of your
it's
office.
very muted out there. We've got it's not
It's perfect.
smoky in the air like make your eyes uh,
Right.
thing smoky, but at the cloud level, it's all smoke. It's all
We had smoke yesterday, and I'm not sure if it was a local fire. I'm assuming it was a local, but it felt like
gr-
forest fire.
Was it low? Did it make your eyes stink smoke or just high smoke?
Not like low, but it was like walking through fog. I don't know.
Because
So
there's
probably
huge
a
fire
little
in
low.
Greece.
It might be from that. It was only for it only washed through like in the afternoon, evening, and it wasn't long.
Yeah, it
But
came
it
through.
was
It came through on one of my newscasts, like fire in Greece, and they're like
there's quite
in
a
like
few
the
fires in
Alps.
Greece. I feel like Greece is kind of right is like there are California here.
Well, it's yeah, it was headed towards the like
They had tons
like
last
old
year.
stuff. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, we've got quite a few fires, but it's not affecting our side of the mountains, so
Okay.
it's not too bad. But yeah, so we're in hyper get ready mode because
Yeah. She's coming in
Martina,
a week.
yeah, she'll be here
Oh my god.
this afternoon of next Tuesday, of this Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
And I'll be there in 2 weeks.
you'll be there in 2 days, and him too.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, 2 days. I'm wishful thinking. Wishful thinking.
Listen.
2 weeks. Crazy. Flying into Portland. Never flown into Portland
Yes.
before.
I know I'm a little nervous about it. I'm a little
Yeah.
nervous about like the whole thing this time going like and flying and then going camping right away.
Yeah.
Um
No, no way that can go poorly.
Yeah.
No, no, no way that's gonna go badly. Yeah.
Sure.
So when we're getting ready for
With
that,
all of the family.
yeah, getting ready for that, got a new hot water tank going into the trailer. So it's
Nice.
installed. It's not working yet, but it's installed.
Halfway there.
Yeah, I figured out how to get power to it. I'm not quite
It's
sure
good.
why I don't have power there, but I do have power, a spot to get power from, and it'll be
Hmm.
safe. And a new alarm to tell me if we're all going to die from propane gas.
It's always a great
And
thing.
because the last alarm, I don't know, last time we went down to Portland, decided just it was going to go off all the time.
Oh, I remember that.
And I turned off all the propane and it's still going off. And I hooked it back up this week, and there's not been any propane in there for 6 months, and still saying danger, Will Robinson, danger. So
I remember
new,
waking up to that alarm quite a few times. It's a very
yes,
scary alarm to wake up to.
yeah, it's not a pleasant alarm. The new one is less,
No, it
even
doesn't
less.
nicely wake you up at all. It doesn't like give you a little nudge, like, "Hey, sweetie, you should get up
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, you
Check
could
the
die.
propane."
You
It,
could
it's
die.
it's more of like, you know, save anybody who's listening from the noise, but
And then you
the
can
facial
push the
expression
button
is
and make
off.
the noise go away for 30 seconds.
Yeah, which is great. Perfect amount of time to go back into bed, and then for dad to go. "Arrgh!"
Yeah. Well, it's not easy because it's screwed to the in. You have to like get a screwdriver out and unscrew it from the wall to get it disconnected.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. So hopefully this is a better one. It's got good ratings on it. Hopefully it's not going to go and die on us again because it's like the third one I put in. I don't know what's
Just
going
make
on.
Hugo deal with it this time.
Yeah, hopefully
Like,
that'd be Hugo's job.
yeah.
Hugo, you do that. And yeah, all the things, all the things. So
So
we're
Hugo doesn't want to actually like say it out loud, but I'm pretty sure that he would be excited about a chance to try driving the trailer at some point if there was a good stretch
mm,
of road or something.
okay.
I think he's a little nervous about it, so I don't think he wants to ask.
Okay. We can probably do
But the fact of how many videos I have to watch that he shows me of people driving tractors and
that.
big rigs around, I'm pretty sure he wants to move to Texas and become a hillbilly.
There you go.
He's like, that's all he watches on shorts is like Southern. He's gone from like wanting to get his green card to like trying to be American.
Do you have a cowboy hat? We'll have to send him home with a cowboy hat.
Not yet. I'm worried. I feel like as soon as we're gonna move to the US, he's gonna just be wearing plaids and straw in his mouth and cowboy hat and
Well, if
cowboy
he's going to wear
boots.
plaid, he needs to stay in the Northwest. Well, I guess they do plaid like
Button up.
like cotton shirts with
Yeah.
pearl buttons in Texas, but
That's what I'm talking about. Those kind of
those kind of okay, not like
I don't I
not a
like my
flannel,
sweet little French
not a
man.
plaid flannel.
Mm-mm.
He wants the cotton pearl buttons
I
snap.
don't think he wants it, but I think that he will soak up anything, like big buckle at all,
Big buckle.
eventually. I can see it. I'm seeing the red herring. I'm seeing the flags.
Yeah, can
So it's starting off with the fact that he just all he wants is
is he working on his y'all?
yard toys.
If you're gonna move to Texas, you gotta work on your y'all. Y'all come back.
I know. So the
All
French
about
use the y'all.
all y'all. Oh, they do.
It's the only thing that they translate. Oh, apparently Hugo's commenting.
Oh,
We can ignore him. Uh,
he's our one listener.
he's our one listener today. Hi, Hugo. Drive safe. Focus on your driving, please. Thank you. I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, the French hat, the only thing that
Yo,
translates to is y'all. So he's halfway there.
there you go.
He
So
just needs a little bit of drawl in his
draw
y'all.
a southern French accent. That'll be good. That'll be good.
Oh, gosh.
So
Mm-mm.
No.
No. Nope.
So yeah. What's going on in France? You're recovering from the Olympics? Just recovering. France is recovering. You started to
France
see.
is recovering from the Olympics. Um, um, well, we have a holiday here on Thursday, so it's
Oh, what are we celebrating?
something to do with Mary and
Mary.
Assumption. I
Assumption?
think that's the day.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
Um, it's a Catholic holiday that I do not know anything about. And so I do know that Hugo gets Thursday off from work, and work this week went from like crazy last week to pretty chill this week, from what it sounds
Mm-hmm.
like. And so he's taking Friday off, and we're going to go on a road trip to go see a ton of castles.
Right.
We're going to go to like, I don't know, as many as possible. I think we have like close to 10 on our list.
Right.
I don't think we're actually going to see all 10, or we might just like see them, but not really go look at them
Nice.
because we're doing it all in 2 days. Um, oh, it's the Ascension, not Assumption. Ascension of Mary. So I think
Oh,
it's
okay.
like the day to celebrate Mary going to heaven,
Yeah.
I believe. Anyways, and so yeah, we're going to a ton of Loire castles, and we're gonna try sleeping in the car.
Nice. Do you have a mattress, air mattress or something?
We have a little tiny mattress that we're gonna try after the podcast. Actually, we're gonna clean out the car and see
Okay.
if it fits.
Cool.
And currently, Hugo might be sleeping like in the driver's seat, and I'll be sleeping in the back. Is currently the plan. Because I don't know. Do you remember Hugo's toy car?
Hugo's car is not as small. It's not a smart car. Small.
It is like a cousin to this marker. It's the second.
Hmm.
It's right there in my
Very good.
head.
Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna try that. So hopefully that works out. And yeah. So and then we're going over to Ferrel, to the
Uh,
beach on Saturday.
nice.
And the weather's not supposed to be great this next weekend,
So
this coming weekend.
yeah. So tell me about this
So
beach you went to last weekend
okay, so we went
with the
to
giant
a
with the giant snake on it.
so we thought that it was going to be at that beach. We ended up going to a different beach that it
Mm.
sounded like it was at, but it wasn't. It was like 11 minutes away. So the giant snake, you know the bridge?
Mm-hmm.
It's on the other side of the bridge and really close to the bridge.
Really? So what
Yeah.
is this giant snake?
It's some art thing.
Okay.
Some, it's
It's
fake,
like
obviously.
okay. So for people
Oh
that
yeah, we
haven't
need to
seen
go
the
into
pictures, this it's like the skeleton of a snake. It's not like an actual snake, but it's
yeah.
like huge, like dinosaur size. Like
Yeah.
like I don't know. On the pictures, it look like 50, 100 feet. It goes like
100
into the
feet, I'd
water.
say.
When it goes
Yeah,
like
it was
into
like
the water.
twisted in and out of the water. And it has like a skeleton head. There was like kids sitting in the head. Like it's big.
Were
We
you
didn't
okay?
actually. I was okay because it didn't look like a snake. It was a snake skeleton.
It looked very much like a snake.
Well, yeah, but it just wasn't. I was thinking it was going to give me like creepy vibes because the photos I've seen are creepy, but
Yeah.
it didn't. It gave very much so like
Did you sit in the mud?
playground.
Did you
You know
sit
what I
in the
mean?
mud?
Like no, we didn't go down on the beach. We were in a
Oh,
hurry to
okay.
get home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not where you hung
Um,
out. You hung out at a
no,
different
so
beach.
we hung out at a different beach. Really close to that though. I think it was like across from Saint Nazaire. I think it
Mm.
was called like Lépine,
Okay.
Lépine or something like that. I don't know.
Hmm.
Saint Pravin Lépine, Lépine. I don't know. Not really sure. And I'm sure that Hugo in like a few seconds will type it out and correct me, but somewhere around there. And yeah, so we went there. It was really nice. It was the first beach that really felt like a full beach to me, where it was just all sand, so much water, just like Long Beach style, like just super long beach, and just we've been to a lot of beaches this summer,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of them are like stone, like big stone beaches with sand and or lots of shells and like kind of all over. Yes, the name of the beach is now in the comments next to Hugo. I'm not pronouncing it, but I was close. In my Yeah, and he just said yes. I'm correcting today. He should just join the podcast. Apparently, he probably will pretty soon. I think he's almost home. So, anyways, yeah, we went there. It was super fun. We basically were like in and out of the water, walked on the beach. We tried reading on the beach. It was quite windy, so that was difficult because we both had real books. So that was difficult. But yeah,
Nice. Well,
that's that.
it looked like a nice beach. It looked like you finally
Yeah, it
found a
was a
good one.
really nice beach. Yeah, I
You've
think
had a
that's
hard
gonna
time
be kind of a
finding a good
go-to.
beach. So the
It was quite busy,
yeah.
but it was probably the hottest day that we've had all summer. Especially like hot, like just straight heat kind of day. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like there's been other days that have been more miserable because it's been so humid. But Sunday was 97 or so. And we've had like, I think we've had a 98 or a 99 like at the beginning of summer in June, I want to say, but we haven't since then.
Hmm.
We've had low 90s, but that's really about it. So, which I'm not complaining because the summer has been hot. It's
Yeah.
been very humid and very hot. So I do not mind at all. But yeah.
Cool. Cool. Well, we've been just. I wish we were going to the beach. We're not going to the beach. Well, mom is up.
You don't like going to the beach.
Hmm.
You don't like going to the beach.
Yeah, I don't actually. Well, the beach is horrible. What am I saying?
I don't know why you're saying
I
that.
would like to not have a list that's undoable to do, and then having time to go to the beach. How's that? I like the idea of
Yeah.
going to the beach. Don't make me actually go to the beach. I'm
I
fine with
really
going to
like
the beach to do something. If we're gonna go to the beach and go on a boat, if we're gonna go to the beach and hike, go to the beach and collect seashells, go to the beach and just be at the beach. Not so much.
I've decided that I like going to the beach more than I used to. And it's because I figured out that like it's harder for me. Like if we're like, okay, today we're gonna have a lazy day where all we're gonna do is like lie around, we're gonna read, and we're just gonna relax. That's all we're gonna do.
Right.
It's harder, like I feel guilty doing that, even if we have the time. Where if I'm like, okay, let's go to the beach,
Right.
swim, but really just like lay in the sun, take a nap, and read
Right.
and maybe go on like a few like a walk and go and swimming and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like taking a lazy day, but I don't feel guilty about it. I don't
Mm.
know why, but when I realize that now that that's what going to the beach is. Um, but and the other nice thing is that like we did the whole day and we didn't even like want to touch our phones because it's so hot. You can't
Right.
see anything because of the sun. Where it's like we're just totally off our phones, and both Hugo and I have been really enjoying just like putting away our phones. I think because with having like the long distance and like also with our families being in different countries,
Mm-hmm.
I think both of us can get really attached to our phones in the
Yeah.
way that we feel like we always have to have them on. That especially after like this last year of marriage, when we've been together
Right.
specifically, like we've been definitely a lot less connected to our phones than we used to be when we were long distance because we were constantly texting each other and calling and wanting to be there in case something happened, even in the middle of the night, like
Right.
having it on and stuff. And I still have mine on in the middle of the night because of family and stuff, just in case, because your guys' day still keeps going while we're going to sleep. So
Yeah.
but there's a little
You
bit more
should
of a disconnect I
you
can
should
do.
turn it off at night.
I know, but it's fine. I normally don't have it.
Anything we have to say can wait till morning. And we have your
I know,
actual
but I feel like as soon as I do that, then you know.
If something horrible happens, you should get one more good night's sleep before you find out.
That feels selfish.
No, this is self care. It's important.
Anyways,
it's not like you're gonna be able to do anything. Some horrible
I
happens
know
to
that's
us.
true.
And, Seattle
Yeah.
falls into the ocean or something, and you're not gonna be able to do anything about it until morning anyway. So
I won't be able to do one morbid. Two, I won't be able to even do anything about it in the morning. What do you think the sunrise will make difference?
well, but you'll be well rested. If you need to get plane tickets or something like that, you just take care of it.
Dad is talking about falling into the ocean.
Not us, Seattle.
All of Seattle falling into
Seattle,
the ocean.
Seattle and Gomorrah, those guys.
Hello.
Hey, you're here.
The editor is here.
Yes. And what did they need to say? Did they say, hello, y'all? Was it?
It's hi.
Not
Hi,
really.
y'all. Not hello.
I'm going to try that.
Gotta work on this.
Try more later.
And it's plural, so it's all y'all.
Yeah. You definitely need a shower.
Hey.
You look like gray. There's like a gray dirt cloud following Hugo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love you. We're gonna meet one of the youth pastor at our church tonight.
No, nice.
For a like picnic dinner. And
At a castle somewhere.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Excusez-moi. Not with those dirty hands. He just stole an apricot.
Stole an apricot.
Yes. From my fruit stash that we're supposed to not be eating, but I've already eaten a good amount.
Yeah.
Mom, I showed Mom we bought like 2 tubs. We bought like a huge box of apricots, and we bought like a huge box of peaches. And Mom was like, "How are you going to eat that?" I'm like, "I could eat this in one sitting. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, do you remember living with me?"
This is coming from the mom that has been going every Wednesday to the market and buying 2 flats of fruit.
You like fruit.
Bring that up next time. Bring that up next time.
She's
2
doing
flats.
She's doing that for you.
2 flats of fruit.
She's doing that for you.
Okay. Well,
but
last
I
time
agree.
she
That
bought
goes
me
with
this
bad
much,
in like a
we
day.
had this much strawberries or this much cherries. One little square of cherries. Everything else, other things.
Okay.
Not for me.
But you were like obsessed with strawberries last year.
I've had a lot of strawberries. I do like the strawberries. They're harder to eat. They're harder to eat. Like
they're like sticky.
Well, and what do you do? I'm not going to stop and take a knife and cut the little core out. So, do you like just eat the whole core and just pull off the little green part, or do you eat around it? I don't know.
No, I just eat the whole core. You don't eat the core of strawberries?
If they're small, yes, but if they're big, the core is hard.
Yeah. Fiber.
So, sometimes
I'll eat the greens if I'm feeling.
I got grief because I threw strawberries in my smoothie, and Mom's like, "You threw the green part in there." I'm like, "It's a smoothie. Nobody will know." Come on.
It's fine. It's edible. It's just not that tasty. So it's great for a smoothie.
A little bitter, but in the smoothie you can't tell. I mean,
it's fine.
Percentage wise, grind up. You can't even taste it. So
totally fine.
But anyway, that's yeah.
Oh, I'm supposed to give you grief on something, but at the same time, actually, no. I decided I want to give you grief something. Mom. I mean, no. In my personal opinion, I think that you should work on the attic of whatever issues going on in the attic. When I mentioned to Mom that I would maybe prompt you on this on the podcast, she said no. But just clarifying, this is not Mom. But I'm going to wheel the bus around and run over you a little bit. I'd prefer for there not to be flying things in the attic when I get home or poop. Please.
Well, there's been poop in the attic for the last 5 years, so it'll be all right. We have a few bats. We have a bat family in our attic, and I don't know where they're coming
Yes.
from, but they are there. And so we took a bunch out. We found some. We got rid of them.
Yeah, I heard that Mom
Found some
vacuumed
more.
one up or two.
So, and the only thing I can think of, there's a little spot, but I don't know where they'd be getting in from. That I
Yeah,
said I could
it's
probably
weird.
foam, but it's not easy. It's not an easy thing. It's a full. It's a lot of prep work to foam this in. So it's not going to happen until after Martina gets here at the earliest. So we have other things we have to do before then.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
it's just gonna get lost in the summer trouble.
Well, Mom's not going to let me forget it. So it's going to happen.
Nope.
So it's going to happen.
All right, should I tell my story so we can wrap up this
Tell
podcast?
your story. You got
Okay,
story time with
so
Lynzee.
let's set the scene here. I decide there's this museum pass in Nantes that is 15 euros for a whole year, and it's 15 euros for like 5 different museums, and you can go as many times as you want. And I'm like, okay, that's totally worth it. I'd love to go to the museums in Nantes. And if I go to 2 of the museums once, like one each, it makes the $15 worth it. Like, totally worth it. And so I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to do this. So I go into Nantes, and I heard that you can buy them at the Castle Museum. And so I'm like, cool, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go into the Castle Museum. And I left a little bit. I had some stuff to do in the morning, so I left a little bit later than I wanted, but it's fine. Went into Nantes. Nantes was way busier. It was like a Thursday, I think. Yeah, it was Thursday. It was super hot, and it was way busier than I thought it was going to be. So many tourists. Um, I had been in Nantes like a little bit, but not near the castle. And so I thought, I was like, oh no, we didn't get like too many more tourists, because I had seen a lot of tourists in June, but it wasn't like overwhelming. And no, Nantes had like tons of tourists, which makes sense because there's a big train station, and there's a there's an airport in Nantes, so it makes sense for like other Europeans to come to Nantes as like a visit. Um, so, anyways, lots of tourists. I walk into the castle, and literally there's a woman wearing like a USA shirt. Another one, so she's going like this, and I'm going like this, and there's another woman here, and she basically like bumps into this other lady and is like, "Are you from the US?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm from Illinois. Oh, that's so cool. I'm from Texas or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember." And just totally, and I was so close. I'm being like, "I'm from Seattle," and just like walking away. But I was like, no, 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 no. I'll chill. I just think it's really funny when people find in other countries, you get so excited when you find another American. I'm like way more outgoing. If I hear somebody speaking English, almost always, I'm like, where are you from? Especially if they're American, I'm like, where are you from? So, anyways, walk into the castle, and I'm like, okay, I would like wait in line, and then I get up in line with somebody, and I'm like, I'd like to buy a museum pass, and I say it all in French, and they're like, okay, can you spell your family name? And I was like, cool. And there I was like, it's Loke, and I started spelling it, and as I started spelling it, my mind started going like into hyperdrive of going, oh my gosh, you said Loke instead of Lee when Lee's was on my ID, and Loke, and I was like, oh gosh. And the alphabet in French is a little different, and I always forget what letters are different and what letters are the same. So sometimes I struggle with it. It's like a simple thing, but because it's so simple, we only went over it like once in my classes, and I really should just sit down and just like practice it a little bit so I can remember. And I can spell my first name, but I haven't really, like figured out my last name. Anyways, so silly thing, but and then I was like kind of fumbling with it a little bit. She's like, do you want to speak in English? I was like, yeah, actually, that'd just be easier. And so we switched into English. And she's like, so where are you from? And I was like, for that or like, and she's like, oh no, just for small talk. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, because normally no small talk. And figured out she's American.
Oh.
And that's maybe what the small talk is about. And so we start chatting a little bit while she's asking me these questions. Because some people are like, the where are you from question. And I've had people be like, get upset because I'm like, oh, I'm from Lynzee. And then they're like, no, like, what's your nationality? And I'm like, okay, well, then ask me what my nationality is, not like where do I live or where I'm from. Like, what my nationality. I'm like, you're confusing. Anyways, so it was kind of a whole thing. We went back and forth a little bit and just chatted and got my museum pass, all good. And then I had a backpack because I wanted to get some things done and maybe go to like a coffee shop or sit in a garden. So I brought my iPad and my computer, which is not something I normally do. I don't often bring my computer out. And so and I was really nervous the whole metro ride there and back. I was really careful. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, you can't bring your backpack in, but we have a coat room and it's free. You can like put your backpack in. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I wish I just wasn't going to the museum now because I'm not sure how much time I have. And also, I don't really want to put my backpack in here. But I'm like, I'm kind of invested now. I'm just going to do it. Well, I go in and I like read the instructions like twice in English and in French, okay? Because I just wanted to like make sure I knew what was going on for this coat room because it was confusing. There was like these little tokens. There were like doors that were shut that didn't have stuff in them. There were doors, some doors were open. It was like a little messy. And so I pick a door, it has a key, it's open, and put my stuff in it. I put the tokens in and close it, just like how the instructions said. And then I turn it and lock it, and then I can't get out the key. So I'm sitting on the floor of this locker room. There is a like camp or whatever of kids behind me and teachers figuring out backpacks. And so there's a lot going on in this locker room. And I sit there for like 5 minutes trying to turn the key, and I cannot get it out or open up the door. And I'm like really heavily like messing with this lock, and I cannot get it. And I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, okay, well, go back to the welcome desk. And luckily she was available. And right as she's handing me like a little note saying, hey, we should get coffee sometime, text me with her number on it, which was kind of cool. I'm like, okay, I need help with the lockers. Like, when you have a moment, can you help me? And so I wait for her to be done. She's like, yeah, sure. I'll help you. Just give me a sec. I wait for her to be done. She comes back. She can't get it open either.
Oh,
and after she's struggling for a little while, yeah, it wasn't just me. She can't get it open either. And we're both kind of like, okay, she's gonna have to go talk to her coworkers, get somebody to come help me with the locker. And I was like, you know what? Forgetting at this point that my iPad and my computer were in there. I was like, you know what? I'm sure it's fine if you and I cannot get out this key. I'll just leave, go through the museum really quickly because I thought it was a pretty quick one. I didn't realize it was that big. I was like, I'll just go through it really quickly and I'll come back. And because if they are going to help me, they're probably going to need to help me when I leave too. It's like, then you can save you the trouble. Then they only have to help me once. It's locked. The key's in it, but I'm sure it's fine. Anyways, I start going through the museum, realize how big it is, also remember that my computer's in there, and start getting really nervous. So I like run through the museum really quickly. Luckily, museum pass, can go back whenever I want for the next year. Totally fine. And so I come back, go into the locker room, and while I like right before, I noticed that my new friend wasn't at the welcome desk. There was 2 completely new people. I'm like, okay, great. Go into the locker room, the key gone. My stuff still there, the key gone. The door closed, locked.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So somebody came and fixed it and took the key out.
That's what I would thought. That's what I thought. It's like, cool, great. This is fine. I was like, everything's fine. I'm being confident in my French today. I go up and I say, very well, by the way, hey, I have a problem with the key. I need the key for 81. And I said, and they're like, "Oh, you have a problem with the locker room." I'm like, "Yeah." And so I go and show them, and I'm like, maybe they didn't understand. I was like, it was very clear. I wasn't, because sometimes I get a little quiet with my French, so it's hard for people to understand. But I was very clear. I was loud enough. There was nobody else in the welcome room area. It was just these two ladies at two different desks. And so one of them comes with me and goes back to the room, and I'm like, "So there's no key here." And I left the key because it was broken and it wouldn't move there, it wouldn't come out. And so I left it. I talked to one of your colleagues because I forgot her name at the time. I talked to one of your colleagues. She said that it was fine if I just left it and that when I came back we would fix it, and say this all in French. And she's like, "Why don't you have the key?" And I'm like, "Because it was broken." And she's like, "But you should have the key." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it was broken, like I couldn't use the key."
But what
And she's
if the
like,
key wouldn't come out?
"Yeah." I'm like, it was stuck." And so we go back and forth. And I think what I've decided, like looking back on the situation, is I think that she thought it was a translation error, but I was actually speaking like well enough that she should have been able to understand me. But I think because the situation was so ridiculous, because I literally at some point was like, "I know I'm stupid for leaving the key in it," because she was giving me a look like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Like, she was being so judgmental. And I was like, "I understand." I was like, "I understand that I'm stupid, but this is what I did. And your colleague told me to do this. Like, she told me this was okay. And this happens all the time." I literally showed her with another locker what happened. And I was like, "It didn't open, it was stuck. And I couldn't get it out." And she's just like, totally. Anyways, and then she starts going, and I start getting stressed because I'm just like repeating myself. She's just like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, just keep saying the same thing. Like, it didn't work. I don't have the key. It didn't work. I don't have the key. Like, anyways. And she's just like, "You're crazy," giving me like, look. And then she's like, I'm going to have to call somebody and you're going to have to pay them for it to open. And I had seen a sign earlier that said that if you lost your keys, and I was like, "That's fine, but I didn't lose the keys. Like, I don't have the keys. I did not lose them in the museum. I just I don't have them. And like, I left them here." And she wasn't understanding. I was like, "But fine, like, we'll call somebody." I was like, "I just want my stuff." And it wasn't that expensive. She was acting like it was a huge deal. I think it's because it would have taken like all afternoon and made her day hard.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like 20 euros, which isn't that bad in my opinion. Like,
It's a lot.
it
It's
could be a
it's
lot
a lot
worse.
of money, but it's not like national debt money.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't have been like, "Oh my gosh, we can't, get food next week." Like,
right.
it just would have sucked. It would have been like, "Oh great, I spent 20 euros. Like, I could have bought something nice with that." Like,
Yeah.
okay, great. Um, and so I was just like frustrated and like not feeling very understood, trying to figure out what I could do. And then I was like, "Oh, because I looked at the note that the girl gave me with her name on it, and I was like, so this is who told me. Like, this is your colleague who told me." She's like, "Oh, okay." And then she went to the other coworker that was at the desk that the person I would talk to was from, like who she was sitting, and she's like, "Hey, do you have this key?" Exactly what I said when I came to both of the front desks, stood in between them and said, "Hey, I need the key. Like, do you guys have the key?" Like, and I
Mhm.
said the number and everything, and I said it exactly right, like exactly how she said. And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's right here." And then she turned to me and like in the sassiest way was like, "Well, you have good luck, don't you?" And I was like, "Excuse me. I'm doing exactly what I was told to do." I was like, "I'm sorry."
You thought somebody had found the
Anyways,
key and given it to her. Is that what you was thinking?
yeah, I think that she thought that somebody had just like given it to her. And I don't think she
They
understood at all what had happened.
yeah.
And it just,
Well,
I was
I would guess
so,
that those locker keys get found at the museum every once in a while, and they're like,
oh yeah,
"Hey,
well,
I
because
found a
it's like
locker key,"
so
and
genuine
give it to
thing
the front
that
desk.
like while we tried to open it, it had broken. Like the little cord thing had broken on us while we were trying to open it.
Yeah.
Like it was, and she had told me, the American girl that I had met at the beginning, she had told me, she's like, "We have problems with these lockers all day long. They're so annoying. I don't know why they didn't replace them earlier. Like, it's ridiculous. They're constantly broken. They don't work. They constantly get stuck." Like, it's not like it was a whoa, so weird that like the key got
Yeah.
stuck thing. She's like, oh great, here's another one. This is my fifth
This
one.
always happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's the girl that I met. She said that she was new and she's still trying to figure out how to get the door. Apparently, you have to like take it off guard. You have to take it by surprise. Is what her coworkers say.
By surprise.
So I kept, and I was like, I've tried everything because there was quite a few times where we were like, like trying everything that we could. Like no joke, by myself was sitting on the floor fidgeting with this key 4 or 5 minutes. Like anyways, that's my American. I was so stressed. It took me like 45 minutes for the adrenaline and anxiety to go down because I was so like annoyed, angry, and like so self-conscious and like stressed out by this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't get like my other friend in trouble, my new friend. Like, oh my goodness. So anyways, that's my embarrassing, and this is why like when I tell people that everything is slightly more difficult when you live in another country, this feels like a great example of like I have this stress that this kind of situation will happen every single day, every day that I go out. Something like this big thing will go out. Like and like normally it's just little things. Like I had a person come to me today when I was at one of the tram stations and he was like asking me a question and it sounded like he said, "You are here? We are here? We are here." And I was like, I was like, and he wouldn't let me speak. I was like, because I told him, like, because he came up to me, and I always tell people when they come up to me in Nantes and any big city, I just immediately am like, I don't speak French, like, even if I can. And I felt really bad because one time I did this, and because I'm so used to people like beggars coming up, and oftentimes I don't know the answer to the question, like today. But I felt really bad. I was with a friend and we were at the beach, and these two girls came up to us, and I didn't see because it was so sunny and I wasn't really looking. And they're like, "Hey, we need help." And I was like, "Sorry, we don't speak French." And then later we had watched, and they had like their cell phones were dead. They were like 12, and they were I think trying to call their parents. And I felt so bad, and I was like, "Oh, I totally could have helped them." So it's something I'm trying to be like a little bit like, okay, my French is better. Like I'm a little bit more aware. I know where we're at. Like maybe I can help. And so I at first was like, I can't speak French, but he had like kind of cut me off. And so I was like, okay, well, and he's like, just asked me, I was like, can you repeat that? Like, what? And then he just said it again. And I'm like, no. And then he looked at me funny. And I was like, and then he's like, you don't speak French, do you? Like in French. He's like, and I was like, no. He's like, huh. And we both just like walked off. So just, I was like, but I could swear he said, you are here. Like, I'm going to actually ask you.
But he said in French, you don't speak French. And you said, no.
No. And I've been speaking to him in French too. And he's like, yeah. And I was
you
like,
don't
no.
really speak French.
No.
I was like, not really. Speak French. That's funny.
Well, and I just have like, there's like little fear, and like it's this constant, especially like I have some social anxiety, and it's something I'm trying to get better at. And just because the more it happens, the less worse it'll be. And really, nothing big like that happens, like the locker situation happens, like very occasionally. But it's everything when you do it feels harder, and like therefore it feels like more of a victory. It's not a bad thing. It takes more effort. It's just like when you move, like figuring out where the grocery stores are, like it takes a little bit more effort to get there, maybe, you know, like because you're not used to it. Like I grew up in one town my whole life, basically. Like Monroe is where we've lived at that house. My main like memory of my life, we've lived there. So in the same area.
Moved here, so.
Yeah, I was very little. So, and even when we had the rental house, it was in the same neighborhood. You know, it's like we've lived in, and I love that, and I loved living in one town. But I think I'm so used to that. I'm not used to the new. And so having all new here, I think that no matter where I lived, it would be like a little like, oh, wow, okay, this takes some extra effort, like anytime you move. But I think because it's another country and because I don't feel fully prepared for any situation that might happen.
Yeah.
it's a little harder for myself to get like for me to get myself out of things. It
Yeah.
feels like a little. And so it feels like this is a great example of why I say like everything's just a little bit more hard and I am like a little bit more on edge
Yeah.
when I'm
It's
out in public.
it's interesting the language thing is to me it feels like a weight you can't lift when you can't communicate. When you're trying to like
Totally.
when we were there and it was and we were so fortunate because we always had you guys around and stuff. But occasionally you're trying to do something and you're like, I just want to say something simple. And
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to lift something that is impossible to lift when you're when you can't
Yeah.
use the language that it's just
I
it's
feel,
and it's way
I felt like
different.
a little,
It's way different on the person that doesn't know the language. So the minority, I guess, is the uh, the out of the foreigner, I guess, is the
right.
it's way like here if somebody comes up and they're like only speak Spanish. I mean it's hard, but it's not. It doesn't feel like that weight but when you're the one that's like I can't say anything that this person's going to understand, and you're
Yeah.
just like, oh, it really feels it has that same feeling as when you are trying to lift something like you go to lift a couch and it's like 500 pounds and it's like no
Yeah.
I cannot lift this by myself.
The way I feel is it totally makes me feel like I'm like a baby who can't communicate and then just like starts to melt down because of it. Because specifically in that situation, like
Yeah,
I was starting to get, I don't think she noticed, but I was starting to get like frustrated enough for where if it continued back and forth like that, like I was going to cry. Like it
yeah,
just was like, and I was a little bit more emotional, but
yeah,
still, like it's just, it feels it's that feeling of just like absolute frustration, like you said, not being able to lift a weight, like not being it's like trying to climb out of a hole and like it just keeps getting deeper.
yeah,
Like and you it just like you
yeah.
can't
There's
climb
just
out of it.
it
Like
feels like there's just nothing you
so
can do.
out of control.
Yeah,
And like also so you're so at like the mercy of other people.
yeah,
Like one like whether they know your language or not.
yeah,
But also like how they treat you when you don't know their like you're so like if somebody all of a sudden decides to be like, oh, okay, let's see, like this isn't working out, let's try something else, like let's can you like maybe like use your phone, do you have translate, like I don't know, like
right.
there's different ways where you can be like, oh, okay, we don't understand, you're using translate, let me, okay, yeah, let's do that. Or hey, I'll be patient with your like I was at a cafe
Hmm.
and my French wasn't great
Hmm.
and I messed up on something and I like immediately like said something and it was in Paris too. And I think I used like us, or I think I used like all of us, including him, like we'll take coffee instead of like I'll take coffee and she'll take coffee. Like I
Right.
kind of was like, us three are gonna take
Yeah.
coffee,
Come
kind
join
of
us. Have a seat.
thing. You're gonna take a coffee too, by the way. And instead of like immediately switching into speaking English, I know he could speak English.
Yeah.
He let me speak French, and then later, when he asked my friend, he was like, "How is it?" And she just like looked at me like, "What did you say to me?" And I was like, "It's good, it's good." And I told her in French, like, "Say it's good," and she was like, "Bon," and then she was like, "Parfait," and he's like, good. And then he turned to me, he's like, she needs to practice too. And I was like, yes, we both need to practice. And I was like, and he totally like let us speak in French the whole time. It was like one of the nicest cafes. And part of it might have been because we were travelers and like the suspicion that we might tip. Like they
Yeah.
came, I wanted to go to the bathroom. And when I asked where the bathroom was, they were like, yeah, but there's only one. And there's somebody just went down there. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll wait. Um, and so I went back and I sat down, and they came and got me and said, hey, the bathroom's empty if you want to go to the bathroom. Like it was
Huh.
like one of the nicest cafes. I was
Wow.
like, oh my gosh, like that's so nice of you. I was just gonna go before we left.
Right.
But like, yeah. So there's sometimes where it's like you can make it really easy on somebody when they don't know the
Yeah.
language and but you can also make them feel really vulnerable. Like that lady just like repeating back and forth, back and forth. Like it felt like we were fighting. Like it was like I just I'm like ah. So
Need to be this
anyways,
hard.
that's the update on that's the stories.
Nice.
that I
Well,
have living
you
in a
didn't
foreign
lose your
country.
bag. You didn't lose your iPad. You
All
have
of
the
it all
electronics.
ended up fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. Hope maybe I made a new friend. Um, got my bag, got my museum pass. She did end
Nice.
up spelling my name wrong, even though I spelled it in English. But yeah, it's a little. I have like I think it's because the Y is an I,
Mm,
and that's the only thing that's wrong.
mm.
And I have Loque on it instead of Lee. So if they do check it against an ID, I might have some explaining to do. But I went to a museum today and they didn't check it. I don't think that they will check it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hugo's trying to make an outfit by himself. It's not going well. That's just too formal. We're going to a park. You look like you're part of Mr. Popper's Penguins. I don't know.
Wow.
Maybe shorts. It's hot out. Green shorts are fine. Okay, I'll be off.
You need to go.
I need to go. Yeah, we're gonna try to clean out the car before we go to dinner tonight.
All right.
So
Well, you have a fun trip at your deal So who's having trouble with language now? You have
yeah, gosh.
fun trip at your dinner, and we're gonna play us out.
Thank you.
So thanks for
Okay.
watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.